Part 2 of the NI Sevens Challenge race from the 25th September at Kirkistown. We left Mark Crawford here, was in the lead and on his way to potentially winning the challenge for 2010. Meanwhile, towards the back, Larry Mawhinney and Davis Buick having their own battle. We're on board here with Andy Parkinson, currently in 6th place. Meanwhile, Mark has built up a little bit of a lead from Ram McGuinness, his championship rival, in second. Top 3, top 4 finish from Mark would see him win the championship. Meanwhile, Andy has Gary Jones on the brakes now, going down into the hairpin side by side. There's a fierce battle going on for 3rd place as well. Colin Reid and Jimmy Dugan. And Ian Leinster as well, in that little gaggle of cars. Just ahead here of Andy, who appears to have fought off Gary for another lap. So here you can get an idea of the lead. Mark Crawford has about a second on Ram McGuinness, and they've built up a lead now of a few seconds over Jimmy Dugan in 3rd from Colin Reid in the dark coloured Stryker from the yellow Westfield. Ian Leinster. Brakes. Mark just has enough of a lead. He doesn't have to worry about anyone diving up the brakes, which is what Colin's trying to do on Jimmy Dugan. He looks like he's gone a bit wide, and maybe Ian Leinster's got a chance to get through. Still Davis Buick chasing down Larry Mawhinney. Mark having to take a proper racing line around the track. Just trying to put in a few fast, consistent laps. There's not much Ryan can do if this keeps up. Andy trying desperately to catch up with that battle for 3rd place. Curve there, every piece of track on the way out of the chicane to try and get the drive down the straight. Andy doing much the same. Right down onto the grass. Breaks through the hairpin. Ian is able to save a few vital tenths by not having to drive defensively, unlike Andy, who's having to stay tight. He's got Gary Jones for company around the outside. That's going to hamper his attempts to get back with those 3 cars in front of him. But so far, he's holding his own. And the 2 leaders look they're pulling away from these cars bickering for 3rd place. Currently held by Colin Reid, but there's so little between them. Jimmy Dugan and Ian Leinster in the yellow Westfield. And Gary Jones goes around the outside of Deaders. That's a brave move. Flat out, left-handed kink. Not that much space. There's not much Andy can do on the brakes. Meanwhile, Colin just getting slightly sideways. Does that give Jimmy Dugan a chance? Colin sticks resolutely to the inside of the track. Doesn't give Jimmy anywhere to go. Jimmy getting very sideways there, going into Fisherman's. Meanwhile, the leader and championship leader continues. And Andy following Gary Jones now, trying to catch up with those guys in front. Jones, oh, he's lost the back end of the car. Just came round on him, and he does well to avoid it. That'll be a moment he'll remember. Marshals out with the yellow flags, so that should see Andy Parkinson here in the red MK back up to 6th, but he probably hasn't got much of a chance now catching up with the 3 cars battling for 3rd. Mark meanwhile right out to the left hand side there to sweep around that hairpin. Hairpin as well. I'm not sure there's anyone close to him. And you can see Mark, if anything, extending his lead over Ram McGuinness in 2nd. Those 2 cars look to be isolating themselves from the rest of the field. go. Starting to get close to that championship. Meanwhile, the third place, Colin Reid, just holding his spot from Jimmy Dugan. And Ian Leinster around the outside of Jimmy. Can't quite make it. And you can see the damage both to the rear of Jimmy Dugan's car and to the front of Ian Leinster's from that earlier on incident. Jimmy's still having a look at Colin. They're having a fantastic battle for third. Andy, meanwhile, has just a couple of Group A cars in the A-Class, the Road Sport Series for company. Leader down into the hairpin. Just concentrating on putting in a few fast laps now. Getting that car to the finish in one piece. Really, Ryan McGuinness's only hope is that some kind of mechanical failure strikes Mark. And there's one of the A-Class runners there in a big red Radical. Nipping past Andy, who gives him plenty of room. Mark through Deaders, breaking down the Colonial 1. It's the Apex and through Colonial 2. Ryan doing everything he can to try to claw back the time. But even if he were to catch Mark and overtake him, it would still be Mark's championship win. Meanwhile, that Radical appears to have caught up with the battle for third place, which Colin Reid appears to be getting the better of. Colin has a little bit of a lead, opened up over Jimmy Dugan and then Ian Leinster. Andy Parkinson, meanwhile, in 6th. Drift out wide, and that's Johnny Armstrong, who has a bit of wing damage from an incident earlier on. Mark now, he must be counting down the laps. He had a very slow start to the season. He didn't score any points in the very first meeting. He was plagued with mechanical issues, but he's scored consistently since then. And it was a very strong finish to the season. He won the last two races there on the August meeting. That's that really has set this up as a possibility. Still just holds enough of a lead over Ryan McGuinness that he doesn't have to worry about driving too defensively. Forward to go out wide, sweeping in, trying just to put in fast times. Ryan already has one Rookie of the Year. Colin in 3rd, Jimmy Dugan in 4th, Ian Leinster in 5th. Parkinson 6th. A bit unfortunate with the Gary Jones spin. He could have been in with a chance of challenging Ian and Jimmy Dugan for 4th. Johnny Armstrong still continues round looking to pick up points, but does have some damage to that front wing. And there you can see, I believe that's Gary Jones's car on the outside of the chicane there. So I think after he has spun, he has had perhaps some other kind of trouble. There's another A-Class runner there, hopping past Andy. Again, the car engines have an advantage in top speed, but they're heavier. And another A-class runner goes past, and you should see as the power starts to kick in, he's just able to walk away. Meanwhile, up front, Mark Crawford still holds the lead from Ram McGuinness. Every rattle he'll be hearing, he'll be getting worried about. Jimmy Dugan, meanwhile, for 4th place, still holding off Ian Leinster. And you can see both those cars have been in the wars. Ian looking for a way around. Jimmy, a very experienced Formula Ford pilot, knows his way around Kirkistown. The chicane, just trying to keep it tidy, not make any mistakes. Davis Buick, meanwhile, trying to get on terms with Johnny Armstrong. Andy, meanwhile, through Fisherman's towards the chicane, while the leader of the class, Mark Crawford, goes through the hairpin and is able to pick off another lap, and indeed, this is the last lap. He has about a 1.5 second lead over Ram McGuinness. That should be enough to see him win the race if everything goes to plan. And of course, with that race win comes the 20 points that will see him crowned the NI Sevens Challenge winner for 2010. With Ram McGuinness, excellent effort in his rookie season. 2nd place, Richard Morgan, who's not out in this meeting. 3rd, Colin Reid, who's currently running 3rd. He will be able to get 4th in the overall standings. And Jimmy Dugan, 5th, Ian Leinster 6th. Ryan McGoldrick again not out after the big accident at the August meeting. Getting 7th, with Andy Parkinson here, who we're on board with, getting 8th. Meanwhile, there's one corner between Mark Crawford and the race win. He negotiates that corner, and he just has to get that car across the line, and he's won the race and the championship. And Mark crosses the line. He's a champion. Excellent result. Didn't have to win the race, but he did anyway.